Hey everyone. So I just finished doing, I think, my fourth run-through of the entire Underworld franchise, except this time I listened to all the commentary tracks, watched all the special features, and I watched the animated movie, so I've got everything logged into this thing. But I did some also poking around to see if there had been any more news on the supposed sixth movie, and then I discovered that even though I already knew that Kate Beckinsale had already announced that she wouldn't reprise her role, I also realized that Theo James believes that the character of David, that his story is completely finished, even though I had kinda gotten to that point myself, a little more on that later, I hope. But those two things, along with my most recent viewing of this film series, has cemented an idea that's been growing in me for a while, and that idea is there shouldn't be another movie. Now I know what you're thinking. Why? Well, there's two reasons. One of which is the fact that all the main characters, their story arcs are complete. It's not just David, because, like, there wasn't too much that they could have done with his character based on what we knew of him in Awakening, because originally David was supposed to die there, but everyone liked Theo James so much that they decided to not kill the character off, and I'm real glad that they didn't, and that he returned for Blood Wars. Sure, the idea of him being Amelia's son is kind of random, but I didn't really understand her place in this franchise up until now, because I kept looking over the fact that David is revealed to be her son. I kept forgetting that. But doing that does give the character a little bit more purpose, which I like. And it also shows that the continuity in these movies is really big, something that I hadn't noticed on my previous run-throughs. But yeah, now that he's been elected, the Elder, he's gotten Celine into a better place, and then Eve returns to Celine at the end of the movie, which was his goal at the start of the movie. That's been established. So, really, his character only has two things. One, make sure everything with the vampires is okay, which never ends, and then defeat the Lycans, which is something that'll just never end. Like, this kind of a war, it's not going to end. It won't. There's always going to be a band of werewolves trying to do some harm, although the funny thing about this is that the vampires, they'd have a tougher time going from day-to-day life because, they can't walk out in the sun, but the funny thing is, it seems like they've got a much better civilization than the werewolves, and I've never totally understood that. Yeah. But then also, if you look at Celine, her character has just about everything that she wants, because she's no longer a fugitive, she's made peace with the vampires, and then has been elected to an elder position, the exact opposite of how things were at the beginning of this. She's reunited with her daughter, even though they never really had that much of a relationship, and it wasn't that she sent her daughter away. Her daughter left voluntarily, even though they both agreed that that was for the best. And she does know what happened to Michael, albeit it wasn't what she wanted it to be, the fact that he's dead, and I really did feel like that was kind of stupid. I mean, like, it would have made a lot more sense for them for the werewolves that captured them at the beginning of Awakening to have killed Michael, because, yeah, like, why would they keep Michael? Because they seem to indicate that it would be much easier to get Eve's blood, so why would you keep Michael? Especially Especially since between him and Celine, we got less development from Michael, because, like, after the first movie, he was sidekick. At least that's what I got from what we watching this franchise, yeah, but what's left to do with Celine here, especially since Kate has announced that she doesn't want to reprise her role? What, you're gonna kill her off screen, have her daughter, and maybe David avenge her? I don't know about that. And then there's a few people who want to see Michael come back, but if you don't have Celine, you can't really undo that option, and, like, how are you going to, write that in, Yeah. And one thing that really makes this annoying is that there's no commentary track for Blood Wars, so I can't really get into the filmmakers' minds as to why they did certain things. I tried looking around for interviews, but I can't really find much other than what Kate and David have said. Yeah, I mean Theo, right? So that's the first reason why I don't think there should be another movie. But here's the other reason. The end of Blood Wars doesn't give a hook for what could happen in the next movie other than Eve and Celine having relationship issues, because every movie has always had a hook that leads into the next one. The first movie has Marcus waking up and Celine feeling what would happen. The end of Evolution has Celine worried about the internal conflict that goes in the vampires due to the lack of leadership and the possibility that people could become more aware of the vampires, both of which are touched upon in Awakening, but the first one of which isn't really exploited until you get to Blood Wars, and then the end of Awakening has the hook of what the heck happened to Michael, you know? But Blood Wars has nothing. Yeah, so even if Kate and Theo had announced that they were okay with reprising their roles, I don't really see much for this franchise to do, to be honest with you. Yeah. Unless there's something that's in the director's mind of the first two, I'd say you should just put this to bed. But that's me.